Good morning everyone, today we're checking out a brand new video from Popcross Studios of turning more SILKSONG bosses into SCPs. Let's hop in and check them out.
In last week's episode of SILKSONG Bosses as SCPs, I got lots of people in the comments saying they wanted to see another round of this, got a bunch of new subscribers who wanted to see another round, and frankly, I just wanted to do another round of it myself. Now, unlike last week, the bosses that I'm using today, I haven't actually come across myself, because I'm stuck in some bird cage where a fat pigeon keeps throwing knives at me.
Damn.
But I believe all of these bosses that I'm working with are still from Act 1 of the game, so we're still not getting too deep into spoilers.
Act 1, huh?
So I have researched later bosses, and there are some pretty sweet-looking ones that I would like to draw. So same deal as last time. Comments, likes, and subscribes are a good signal to me that people want a third round of this.
Yeah,
but for now,
let's go.
round 2. Let's go.
Hit like if you want. Subscribe if you feel like it. By the way, enjoy the show. Let's do this.
Welcome back, everyone.
First one up is a panel called the Skull Tyrant. Interesting.
Amply requested, and due to a swell of new information we've acquired from Field Agent Cherry Teyama and her associates from Biosite 84, we are once again discussing the subcategory of SCPs from the subterranean realm under Adelaide, South Australia. Though, from how much territory Agent Cherry and her team have traversed, we suspect this series of caverns may extend far beyond what we'd initially believed. Some are suggesting that we build a new underground SCP Foundation site within this realm,
you may
firmly
have to.
inside one of the safer territories, of course, so that we do not have to haul these entities we intend to study and contain such great distances out of the caverns than across the country. Of course, the first entity we'll discuss today has shown us that even the seemingly safer regions of this realm are not always safe. Item number SCP-H225. Object Class, Euclid. Special Containment Procedures.
Okay, Euclid, huh?
Specimens of the H225 classification are to be housed in a standard containment cell. Operatives who enter the entity's containment are to wear heat-resistant protective armor. Description.
Nice.
H225 is a 12-foot-tall
quadrupedal
quadrupedal crab-like entity. Such with an SCP discussed in the prior lecture, Entity H213, this creature is adorned in the skull of another, seemingly very large creature of undetermined classification.
An unknown
The skull
origin.
of this creature has fused with this entity's head and body, and it uses this as a means of protecting itself from foes, though the exoskeleton of its own body and limbs has proven to be incredibly durable as well. This creature's internal temperature is over 300 degrees Fahrenheit, and when it unleashes a battle cry, it often spits saliva that is orange in color.
300 degrees Fahrenheit? Dude is as hot as an oven.
And hot enough to cause third-degree burns, if allowed to linger for more than a few seconds on human flesh. The specimen of H225 we currently have in containment is not the first of its kind Agent Cherry and her team came across. While they have been making efforts to not kill any entities they encounter, this is not always possible. The first of these entities that they came across had concealed itself in a cluster of skulls, only bursting to its feet and charging at our operatives once they were too close to easily evade.
Oh yeah, thanks for the jump
operative was
skill.
injured in the battle that followed, and Agent Cherry was concerned about the shrinking numbers in her ranks. She made an executive decision to hurl a grenade into this creature's mouth, which subsequently rendered it deceased. They took some samples from it, marked the location of the corpse, and moved on.
Check.
Later, they came to a village of the non-hostile humanoid insectoid creatures that live in this realm and thought they would have some time to rest. Unfortunately, another of these same skull-adorned entities attacked the village, seemingly hunting Agent Cherry and her team specifically.
Ah, damn it.
While we have not confirmed this, it is suspected that this second specimen was the mate of the one they slayed and was seeking revenge.
Oh.
This time, the operatives were able to restrain the entity for transport out of the subterranean realm and to be brought into containment for further study. But only after multiple local villagers were injured. Those who survived did at least seem grateful to Agent Cherry and her team for stopping the creature's rampage, seemingly not realizing that it may have been the fault of Agent Cherry and her team that the creature came into their home in the first place.
Interesting one to start off with. Just a little guy, but damn is it hot. And I mean temperature-wise, holy shit.
The next
300
entity we'll
degrees?
discuss is one that has provided us with some significant new insights about even past creatures Agent Cherry and her team have encountered. Our linguists are still hard at work deciphering the language of the creatures from this realm, and once they have achieved this, we believe that if we can get this entity to talk, it will be an even greater wealth of information as to how exactly the hierarchy of this realm works, and possibly even take us back to the origins of these lands.
Actually, that is a good question. How the hell does a hierarchy work? Is it the more undefeated you are, the more respect you get? Like, honestly.
Two specific other inquiries we have are, why is this stretch of the subterranean realm so strewn in very durable silk? And what is the significance and origin of the bells found in many caverns?
Bells?
Item number SCP-H231. Object class, Euclid. Special containment procedures. Because of our suspicion that this creature may be a wealth of information when its language is deciphered, the entity is not to be antagonized, and is to be provided with an ample supply of crickets, beetles, and greens such as spinach to be consumed as it pleases.
It likes spinach, huh?
The entity is currently fairly hostile towards Foundation personnel who enter its containment, so only trained combat field operatives may enter. But, under no circumstances may any operatives initiate a fight with this entity and must remain on defense. Description: H231 is a semi-humanoid arachnid-like entity with 4 legs, 2 arms, and 2 blade-like needles stemming from its back. Its head is a strange and, frankly, informative material. It appears in shape almost like that of a childish rendering of a ghost, being rounded and white at the top and spilling down into tendrils. The top of its head is a very durable exoskeleton-like texture, but as it moves down past its 6 eyes, the material becomes more flexible. Upon studying the tentacle-like strands near the bottom of its head, we have discovered that its head is made up of the very same type of silk found strewn across many of these caverns. This also suggests to us that previously discussed and as of yet uncontained entity, H222, is almost entirely constructed of said silk, as its body appeared quite similar to the top of the head of this creature, though we cannot confirm this until H222 is captured for further study. H231 was found by Agent Cherry's team in a cavern covered in both bells and silk. This creature, clearly having a higher degree of intelligence than many of the creatures found, was playing strands of the silk like a harp. Agent Cherry and her team claimed the music was simultaneously impressive and haunting. The creature didn't even seem to notice the operatives entering its home until they attempted to speak to it. It then ceased its playing and attempted to speak back. Unfortunately, Agent Cherry and her team did not understand the language, and despite efforts to keep the creature calm, it soon after attacked, primarily using its agility and sharp claw-like hands as its weapons, but also hurling bells from across its home at the operatives. Agent Cherry and her team were eventually able to bind it in the very silk it played its music on, so it could be transported to containment. Initially, we had hoped that this
it played the silk like a harp. Oh, it's called Widow.
Creature would prove to be one of the sources of the silk found across this realm, but despite it being arachnid-like, we have found no evidence to suggest this entity itself can produce this silk. Hopefully, upon further inspection of this realm, more answers will be found.
Yeah, probably answers from deeper within. Like, what the hell is even going on? What's up next?
The next entity...
Okay, this one is called Sister Splinter.
Was one found in a specific region that had far more vine-like foliage than other territories encountered. There was an ample degree of thorns spread across these vines, making it particularly difficult for Agent Cherry and her team to navigate without harming themselves. Though getting a simple splinter from these thorns was the least of their concerns. While this has not been definitively proven, we believe this next entity is itself responsible for the majority of the growth of these vines. Item number SCP-H237. Object class, Euclid. Special containment procedures. Anytime vine growth within H237's containment reaches a level where it risks barricading the doors, Operatives with armored suits and hedge trimmers are to enter and get rid of some of the foliage.
Hedge trimmers. Clip,
If
clip,
the
clip.
entity continues to create more,
gotta cut through.
flamethrowers will be permitted for use in an effort to send the entity a clearer message about what happens when it overgrows its cell. Though, the flames are to be doused before they can do any harm to the entity itself. Description.
Which will need to be soon, because it looks like this thing is actually encased in bulk.
H237
some kind of
is
wood.
partially humanoid in shape, save for its lower half, which, instead of descending into legs, it has vine-like tendrils that emerge from its waist, with which it will cling to the ceiling of wherever it is residing. The entity's flesh is made of two core substances. One is a series of vines that clump together to make up its core shape, and its skin or exoskeleton covering this is made up of a durable, almost shiny tree bark-like material
Oh, there it
that
is.
takes multiple
I knew it
rounds
was
of fire
wood.
from an M16 assault rifle to puncture. Its primary weapon is its clawed hands, though thankfully for Agent Cherry's team, it has a tendency to telegraph when it is going to strike with one of its arms, as the black top layer of its exoskeleton over its claws will peel back, revealing sharper white claws beneath. Agent
Ooh,
Cherry found
that's
this
impressive.
entity within a cavern that looked like ancient temple ruins from a past era of the civilization that resides in these lands. Different varieties of insect-like figures were carved into the walls, and from samples taken, our archaeologists suggest these ruins were carved roughly 3,000 years ago.
Quite
The
literally has
ceiling
a
of this
temple.
temple was covered in thorned vines, and H237 was concealing itself within them prior to beginning its assault on the operatives. Whether placed there by some higher being of this realm, or having taken the task upon itself, it seems this entity was acting like a temple guardian of sorts, and did not appreciate intruders. Not only did it use its claws to try and tear the operatives to shreds, but it was able to summon flying insects with flesh that resembled its own to fight back. And it
like
had a sort of
head of city
telekinetic
flies or
ability to
something.
command the
I don't
vines
know.
around it, and even spawn more to lash at the operatives during its assault. The operatives eventually began targeting its tendrils beneath its waist, and were able to loosen them enough to make the creature fall to the ground, where they could then attack it more easily and eventually incapacitate it for transport.
Club
The
Stomp
operatives
Hall.
that came to move it did have more problems, as its abilities to command vines meant, even while restrained, it was quite dangerous, but once fully incapacitated
that,
in a
though?
transport vessel, it became unable to harm them further.
Interesting creatures all around. Plus the name, Sisto Splinter. Very interesting.
Alright, Drizzy boy, you said you want these ad reads to go a lot faster, right? Well,
Benny doing the fastest ad he can, but it's still... just about a minute. Okay, then.
Yes, but if you make them too quick, then tonally they could...
great, so I'm gonna run through the whole Popcross library as fast as I can, give people a quick idea of each book, then get us back to the video.
Oh boy.
That is not entirely necessary.
First up, we got Vigilance, which is an anthology about the competitors of a superpowered sports fighting league. Then we got Mytholethal, which is a mythology action-adventure with lots of different redesigned gods and monsters.
Yeah, okay.
Then we
Pretty
got
good.
the newest one, Fear of the Demon Hunters, which has the most art in it, and is a story of redemption and a gal reluctantly teaming up with the Demon Queen. The former Demon
Yeah,
Queen, anyway.
That's pretty right.
Then we got the Popcross Monsters of the Multiverse art book. There's no story or nothing in here, but it's got lots and lots of high-res art.
Yeah, love
Then we
monsters
got
to
the
look at.
Popcross Dragons coloring book and the Demons coloring book. You get the idea, the coloring books. One's got spooky stuff, one has dragons.
Not
And that's
bad.
that. The two online bookstores are linked in the description. And now we can get back to the video. You happy, Drizzy boy?
Well, in the very least, your
He did it in literally less than a minute. Good job, Benny.
effort was appreciated.
The last entity we'll discuss today
And this guy is called the Last Judge.
is the last
interesting.
one Agent Cherry and her team came across. After barely managing to restrain it, those who remained alive were forced to leave the subterranean realm to return to their SCP site and take some time to recover from various injuries and burns. Though it has been
And the
noted
mental
by
anguish.
Tayama's doctors that she is aggressively vouching for her ability to promptly return to her exploration, even if this must be done with a new team that is not in need of recovery. Item number SCP-H251. Object Class, Keter. Special
Ooh,
Containment
a
Procedures.
kettle class.
While H251's primary weapon has been stripped from it and contained in a separate area of Biosite 84, heat-detecting fire suppressant systems are to be ready and aimed into H251's cell from all corners. Walls and doors are
Okay.
to be doubly
A lot of
reinforced
file,
with
huh?
titanium, and operatives are not to enter the entity's cell unless it has been rendered unconscious first. Description: H251 is a 16-foot-tall humanoid beetle
Damn,
with a hide
big.
made from a sort of naturally occurring copper exoskeleton. Its body is not only heat-resistant up to 900 degrees Fahrenheit, but it
Oof,
has also proven capable
high.
of pyromancy, summoning and commanding flames to strike its foes. Agent Cherry and her team encountered this entity after traversing dangerously far into the subterranean realm and coming to a massive cavern built to look almost like a colossal church, constructed from the same
would make
material
sense.
as many of the
It's
bells
got a
found
judge.
in these caves. They came to a large door that had 5 bells stuck into its face and had large harps on either side of it, though much more
Oh,
elegantly
okay.
crafted than the makeshift one H231 played. The door was sealed shut, but on a whim, Agent Cherry strummed her hands along one of the large harps. Upon
And it
doing
just
so, one of
opened?
the 5 bells in the door rang. She continued, and after a few moments of randomly strumming, 2 of the bells rang. She and her
That
team
is a
made more
code.
attempts to play more strings at once and in different patterns, but they were unable to get the other bells to ring. Then, Agent Cherry had the idea to try playing the same haunting song H231 had played. Agent Cherry did not play instruments herself, but one member of
Would be
her
kind
team
of
played
difficult.
both the guitar and violin. So, together, they all
that's
recalled how the
good
tune
enough.
had gone, and the operative was eventually able to play a very similar melody on the harp. As he played the most refined version of it he could, all 5 bells rang. They assumed the door would then open. Instead, smashing down from the ceiling came this massive copper beetle entity, and it did not appear to be soothed by their song.
The
It
judge.
proceeded to attack the operatives, carrying an item we've classified as SCP-H252. It is a bell on the end of a ragged chain-like rope. From within the bell,
It's a bell? I was looking at more, it's like one of those incense things that would be waved around in a church to help, like, bless the area or
the entity
whatnot.
can summon flames, which can burst from it upon striking a being or surface.
Damn.
Agent Cherry and her team very likely would have been killed in this battle, and some of them were, as this
Rest in
was an
peace.
extremely dangerous entity, but thankfully an artifact they had found previously made the battle slightly easier for them. Earlier in their travels, they had come across an entity near the docks over magma where they'd battled H222. This entity
Is that
was non-hostile
lace?
and even gifted Agent Cherry an item we've dubbed SCP-H224, though her team referred to it as the Magma Bell. It seems to have some form
Oh,
of supernatural
okay.
properties in that whoever is wielding it has massively increased resistance to heat,
Oh, it's a
flames,
charm.
and
That's
even
what it is.
magma. Agent Cherry was able to press her hand onto the top of a pool of magma for 8 full seconds without being burned while holding this bell. This meant that in spite of the dangerous flame attacks being used by H251 in this church-like region,
Cherry had
Agent
a way to
Cherry
fight
and her
back.
team were able to toss the magma bell between them to protect themselves from taking any heat damage.
Now
The
that's how
entity
you
was
do
still
it.
viciously dangerous, but this was at least enough of an edge to let the majority of them survive and take victory in this matchup, then restrain the entity for transport and containment. While she is temporarily in recovery, Agent Cherry's date of return to the subterranean realm has not been decided, but given her eagerness to return, we may very well have more information I can share with you all soon.
Oh yeah, I
For
see
now,
we're getting
thank
it
you,
within a week.
and good night.
A week or 2 weeks at least. The last judge. Looking badass, I have to say. I'd fight him. And lose easily.
If you enjoyed this and you haven't seen the first episode of Silksong SCPs, you might want to go back to that. Or maybe all the way back to my Hollow Knight as a horror story episode, which these episodes are a distant sequel to. Or I also have
Very
a Hollow Knight
distant.
variety episode that I actually kind of forgot about. But hey, it's there too if you want to see it. And besides
Ooh,
that, that's all
vampire.
for today, except of course for ending this video on some kind of
Positive
positive or
inspiring
inspiring
note.
note. And the thought I want to leave people with today is a question that you can ask yourself if you find yourself spiraling on negative thoughts or some kind of anxious thoughts, and you want to get yourself out of that loop. And that is simply,
To stop the
where
spiral.
am I? You can ask yourself this a whole bunch of times because the thing is, when you're having some kind of spiraling thoughts, odds are you're projecting yourself out into some kind of painful imagined future where you're
Yeah.
having some kind of difficult argument with someone or
Just a whirlpool of despair. But you just need to grab on and say, where am I? And that can at least slow it down for you enough to eventually swim out.
Or some event that you think might happen is happening. So when you ask yourself, where am I? It just helps you reset, bring you back to being here and now. And if the thoughts are
More
coming back and
present.
you cling to them and project yourself out again, you just ask again, where
Where
am
am
I?
I?
And bring
Yeah.
yourself back. I've found it very
That's
useful
good.
multiple
I
times
like
in my
this one.
life, and I hope it's inspiring or helpful to someone out there. I love you all, and I'll see you all in the next episode on Monday.
Oh, and that's that. Alright everyone, that's going to be the end of today's video, and I hope you all enjoyed. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Link to the original will be in the description below, and I'll see all of y'all next time when we flick back on. Till then, this is Fox, signing out. Peace.